I mean, I can't speak to anybody's experience but my own, but I would get trapped in those kind of loops of trying to just figure it out. I never really knew what I even meant by that, but my brain was just working overtime because I just had the sense that if I could just be a little bit better and if I could just read one more book on communication or something, things would turn around.
That is actor Anna Kendrick talking about her own experience in a toxic relationship, which she explored in her movie Alice, Darling. Here are comments by psychiatrist Judith Orloff on narcissistic parenting and other relationships, followed by an excerpt from a podcast by therapist Julie Bjelland with Willow McIntosh. See the notes for links to resources.
Part of the healing from narcissistic parenting is taking that inner child, this inner child work, and going back. I work with patients going back to that house where that inner child was forsaken and abandoned. That child is in some house that you've lived in. And to go back and find that wounded child, reclaim that child from that house and tell that child, I am never going to neglect you or abandon you or hurt you ever again. And you're going to come live with me. And so part of the healing of narcissistic wounding from parents is reclaiming the inner child, saying, I'm sorry you were hurt. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. And now I will. So there's something healing in that. You know, I get chills when I talk about it. And I've worked so many people through this. I know how liberating it is to find that child again, that hurt child, and the reparenting or the putting that child in safety now helps. It really does. But you can't leave that child out on a limb, just dangling in the universe of the past, the universal time. You want to find that little you that was so hurt and is maybe cowering in some corner somewhere in some house you lived in and God knows where, to get it and bring her or him home again.
Now, I want to ask you a question, Judith, about unconditional love, because I noticed you emphasize that somebody who is a full-blown narcissist is not capable of unconditional love. Right. And I thought to myself, probably most people in intimate relationship, if they told the truth, would say, I think, I kind of unconditionally love you, and my love's kind of conditional on monogamy, on truth-telling, on these other qualities. So I want to make sure I understand what you're meaning by unconditional love as something that we can offer other people and also receive regularly.
Right. That doesn't mean that all your needs are going to be met. If one person, is poly and another person wants monogamy, that's a difference in their values and belief systems. So you make a decision whether to enter into that relationship or not. If someone is honest about what they can give or not give, that's freeing. It's up to you to take responsibility then for that. And so setting your values or setting what's important to you and being clear about that with a mate doesn't mean you don't love them unconditionally. It just means this is who I am. This is who you are. Are we going to get together on this, or does it feel wrong? Is there too many differences? But if you do make a decision to go ahead with somebody with differing values, then, the acceptance has to be there, especially if they're honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that in your life, in intimate relationships, you're looking for a certain quality of heart energy, heart presence. And yet here you are in this presentation and you're talking about this attraction between empaths and narcissists. Mm-hmm. And you've talked about how you've worked with so many different clients who are empaths, and this is a challenge for them. And I'm curious on a personal level, Judith, if earlier in your life you found yourself attracted to narcissists and how you broke that pattern, if that was true for you.
Yeah, I had one great teacher, one great man who was a teacher. He wasn't a romantic partner that would felt like that because of all the manipulation. But it was somebody I was working with. And he taught me almost everything I know about narcissism. He had all the traits. I had never experienced it really before, so I didn't get any of it. So I had to live through the whole thing and finally, do the full cord cutting with them and in the relationship with him. But that, maybe a couple years. Yeah, that was a couple years of learning from him, because I just couldn't get it. I was one of the people I was talking about. I couldn't get that somebody was like that. And he was so intelligent, brilliant, could talk with me about all the deep levels and all the deep things and go places with me. And then no contact, crumbs, the whole thing, So, yeah, I had a great teacher.